Okay, phase
Hi
two.
everyone, so some of you guys will know me.
A little technical difficulty. What's going on? All right. You're fired. Okay. Just kidding. All right. How you fire? Yeah. How you fire volunteer? Okay. Phase two. Phase two of basic training is teamwork. This is a good one. This is a good one because we are terrible at it. But the first thing they do when you get in the Army or you get in the military service is they assign you something called a battle buddy. All right, now battle buddy can go one of two ways. All right, when you show up, they'll either give you a battle buddy or they'll let you choose your battle buddy. All right, now if you went into the Army and you're like, hey, what's up, man? Like, you know, are you bored? Yeah, I'm bored. Okay, let's join the Army. All right, so like if you strolled into the Army with your best friend, you walked in, whenever you signed up, you might pick that person as your battle buddy, but you might not know your battle buddy. But look, in the Army, you're going to get super close with your battle buddy real quick, because the deal with the battle buddy is that you are not allowed to go anywhere by yourself during basic training. Nowhere. You do not walk around by yourself in basic training. Now, it is just basic training, it's not war. But when wartime comes, if you're by yourself, you're in a lot of trouble. Don't want to be by yourself. Battle buddies are super important. Let me ask you this question. If the Army can understand the importance of having somebody near you all the time, why do we not care about it? The Army assigns you a battle buddy. And it's not like you have an option. Like, oh, I cannot be with this person. You ever be with somebody like you feel that way? You ever at your lunch table or sitting somewhere in the bus or somewhere and somebody sits beside you and you're like, you did not just sit beside me. Like, don't you see all the open seats somewhere else? Why aren't you there? Like, you don't have that option in the Army. Like, you did not just assign me that person as my battle buddy. I'll kill them. Like in combat. Like, you know, don't shoot your battle buddy. All right? Very bad. All right? Because then you'll be alone.
Friendly fire.
Right? But look, so for some reason, in our spiritual life, in our Christian walk, we like to believe that we're fine by ourselves. I don't need anybody else. Well, who are you, Jesus? And when Jesus was on the earth, was he by himself? No. Now there's a time where the Bible says that he got into a boat and he tried to get away from everyone and he went off to pray. But then he came back to his disciples. All right, Jesus had the 12, then he had the 3 who were his closest, then he had 1 who was the beloved, John. So Jesus understood the idea of always having people surrounding you when you're doing this thing called life, because it's difficult and you were not created to be alone. But so many times in our Christian walk, people ask you, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Church answer, I'm fine. You know, I don't know about you, but when I grew up, my family, we were great at this because we'd all pack into the van and scream and argue on the way to church and walk in the front door and be like, oh, I'm blessed in the Lord. Woo! You know, sing the songs and stuff, and then we get in the van and argue and scream on the way home. So, I mean, we were so good that we like knew how to pick up the argument when we got in the van, you know, and continue, you know, the whole way home. It's just how it was. Sometimes, for some reason, we're maybe afraid or hesitant to reveal ourselves to other people. And so what you do is you create this own world where people can't get into, and you're isolated. Ever watch the History Channel, the Discovery Channel or the National Geographic Channel thing where they show the lion going after the poor little animal?
Warthog.
Usually, what is it that all of those animals that the lions go after have in common? They're lame and alone. They might not be lame, but they're alone. The one that's alone, they're like, oh, that's our man.
Dinner.
Dead. All right, and it's just a matter of seconds. They chase him down and they kill him. Now it's worse if they're lame and alone.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. But battle buddies. You need to have a battle buddy. I wish God would just assign us a battle buddy, but that's not what he does. He gives us the freedom, which is even greater than the army, of picking our own battle buddy. Somebody that you actually like, that you want to sit next to you. We're not going to tell you who that person is. We're not going to assign you a battle buddy tonight. Pastor Jim ain't going to be like, all right, I want you to, cut yourself and take the blood and, mix it together and make this kind of like, this like bond between your battle buddy. I'm going to do that, all right? Not going to do something crazy, all right? We're not going to ask you to do that. Sometimes though I feel that we have to be made to do certain things to do them. Right? Sometimes we have to be made to do certain things. It's not going to happen though. But look, the army understands the reality of a battle buddy. You cannot be alone. You need your battle buddy. In basic training, and then when you go on the field in combat, you need your battle buddy. The army does not drop one person and see if that person survives against all the other troops, and then drop somebody else the next day, and somebody else the next day, somebody else the next day. When they invade, they invade. That's why they call it invasion. They bring everyone.
What?
They bring the entire, everybody. My brother, who was a Marine, talked about when they used to blow up stuff in the desert. They just go in the desert and blow up stuff, which I thought was cool. I mean, he shot some crazy, ridiculous stuff. And where I live is not too far from Quantico. So the other day, my dog was going crazy because it was booming. Like every, 20 seconds, there was a boom and my house would actually shake. They were blowing things up. That made me feel good and bad. Good because I'm like, all right, the weapons work. All right, like bad because like don't hit my house. All right, like don't misfire. All right, like I was talking to some guy one day who works at Quantico, and he said they can shoot with accuracy 200 miles,
That's crazy.
and they're good. Not only 200 miles, but what they shoot weighs over a ton. 2,000 pounds. They shoot 200 miles. And whatever it hits, blows up. All right, trust me. Okay? All right, they're good. All right, you can run away all you want. And you can actually start running and they can wait till tomorrow. And still kill you. All right? We're like, oh, wake up and boom, still kill you. All right? They can shoot and miss you by 10 miles. The explosion will still kill you. All right, they're good. But look, when they go in, they don't send just like one little tank with one guy who's scared. They send everybody with everything they have, and they blow the place up. That's what they do. There are battle buddies. Nobody is ever alone. Tonight, you need to find a battle buddy. If that person is not in this room, you need to contact them. You don't have to use the battle buddy thing if that sounds lame to you. All right, but look, in the army, they don't care about terminology. At the end of the day, they don't care if battle buddy is not what you want to call it. All they care about is you not dying. And the person who's your battle buddy not dying also. So you two make a pact to each other that you will not let each other die on the battlefield. And you will not allow each other to go through more difficulty in basic training than you already have to. For example, there's a story of these two guys. They were battle buddies. They were late to a meeting. And that wasn't the worst of it. On their way to a meeting to be with the drill sergeant and the rest of their company, they were not careful walking downstairs. Okay? And as they walked down the stairs, they brushed up some dust on their boots. So they made it to the meeting, right? And they thought that they were going to be okay because they were there. They were given some leeway in terms of when they could be there. And as the drill sergeant comes by, he's looking them over and he sees the dust on their boots. Very bad. Okay? So after seeing the dust in their boots, he goes to the people who are over them, who are responsible for them. And he calls for them to come down. So these two people come down, and when they arrive, They get screamed at because there were boots on the people they were responsible for that were dirty. They were supposed to watch out for them, all of them. There was supposed to be this accountability. Why did you allow them to come down with dust in their boots? Don't you know? Don't you care? All right? There was accountability that went into all that. It's not just so that you can have company when you feel alone. It's more than that. All right? We'll get into that in a minute. But battle buddies are so important. All right? And what they do for us is up on the screen. They give us accountability. They give us consistency. They give us encouragement. They keep us from feeling alone and isolated and depressed. A lot of people are depressed. That's the thing going around today. A lot of people are depressed. Some may actually be depressed. Some, maybe it's trendy. I don't know. But here's how you guard against depression. Here's how you guard against depression. Because some people are like, I can go in a room like this and I still sit there and be depressed. Okay, well, do you talk to anybody? No. Do you let them in? No. Well, good luck. You will always be depressed. Jesus cannot help you if you don't let him in. You need a battle buddy that you let into your world. This is not hanging your dirty laundry out so everybody can, this is not like a Facebook status. Here are my following issues. Everybody be my battle buddy. Like, no. Right? No, that's not what this is. This is a one-on-one connection with you and somebody else. Right? Hopefully in this room you already understand that, guys, your battle buddy will be a guy. Ladies, your battle buddy will be a lady. Right? The only exception to that is if you're married. And here's the thing. My battle buddy is not my wife. Because she does not understand everything I go through. Because she's a woman and I'm a guy. I cannot tell all the struggles to my wife and have her relate to them. I'm a guy. Guys, you feel me, right? Thank you. Afterwards, y'all circle around and pray for me. All right? So you need to have a battle buddy. So important. All right? Number two. So number one is the principle of battle buddy. Oh, this is not gonna be good. All right, number two, the principle of punishment versus reward. Now, this is on a mass scale. Mass punishment, mass reward. All right, in the army or the service, when you fail, everybody feels it. Those guys who got dust in their boots, they marched in place for an hour. Then they stopped when the other two came who were responsible for them, and they marched along with them. And they marched, and they marched, and they marched. Probably until there was a hole in their boots. I think about it now, I feel like a sissy because I was complaining about my little blister I got in the boardwalk. Those dudes probably did not have any feet left, just nubs. All right, like they marched and marched and marched. All right, but other people took the responsibility for their mistake and their fault. There is a principle in Scripture. Or there's a story in Scripture, rather, should I say it, that reflects this. All right, and we're just gonna. I'm not gonna read the story. I'm just gonna paraphrase it for you. Go through it quickly. All right. The story is of Achan. Anybody know the story of Achan? Okay. So what happens is this. All right. Let me kind of summarize it for you. All right. Israel goes to a battle at Jericho. You know what happens at Jericho? The walls what?
Came tumbling down.
Come tumbling down, all right? Remember the story? They march around, walls come down. Here's the deal. When the walls came down, there was a bunch of stuff that was like free now. Have you ever seen like the streets when a team wins or loses or whatever and they riot? Free stuff! All right, even though it's not really free. All of a sudden because your team won, it became free. Free! Like, I'm not sure how that works, but look, so what happens is the walls of Jericho, they come down. And the people are like, ooh! Gold and other stuff. Stuff! Now, before they go into it, God says this. You do not touch anything that you see in there because it belongs to me. Okay, God, no problem. Everybody understood that except for Achan. You know what Achan did?
That's mine.
And here's the thing, Achan saw this huge pile of gold, and Achan's like, nobody counted that, not even God. I'm just going to borrow some stuff. In his hair, wherever, like, wherever. And so he walks off. Now here's the thing, Jericho is huge, and they had a lot of stuff, so Achan's like, nobody will ever notice. All right? So Achan was so sure that nobody would ever notice that he went back to his tent, dug a hole, and hid it. All right, now I know they're not going to find out, but I'm just going to be safe. All right, covers up, puts his bed over it. All right, some of y'all know about this because you hide stuff from your parents. All right, so if you hide stuff at youth camp, it's above the ceiling, isn't it?
Is it?
How many of you do that? How many of you do that with your cell phones above? All right, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Anyways. Oh yeah, isn't it like the ceiling tile? Okay, all right. Look, don't get ideas. They will search. All right. They'll search.
He's thinking about it now.
They will search. All right. I've never done that. Well, I haven't had to because I can take mine. But so here's the deal. All right. Here's the deal. So he does that. All right. And some time goes by, and he's enjoying it. Like he has it. He's making plans for it. Nobody has found out. Everything's good. Okay. So Israel then goes on to another battle because they're going through the promised land, and they come up to a smaller place called Ai. And Ai is like 1/10 the size of Jericho. And like their army's like a bunch of old guys and like walkers, all right? And with like wooden sticks. And so Israel's like, ah, they go screaming in and they lose badly. Most of their army killed, wiped out against these guys with like canes, you know? And Joshua's like, what in the world just happened? We just destroyed a place much larger. Now we lost to these people. What's going on? So he goes before God. He says, God, I think you lied to us. You said you wanted us to take the promised land, and we lost. And so he starts to do these things like he mourns and tears his clothes, and he's just like, oh, he's so sad. Like, oh. Like, you know, and God says, you know what? There's a problem. In your camp, Joshua, in your town, there is sin. Someone stole from me. Joshua's like, well, what should we do? God says, I want you to pick them out. He's like, how do I do that? He's like, well, you give them a chance first. And then if they don't confess up, we're going to go after them. So Joshua says, okay, so he calls everybody together, all the tribes of Israel, and divides them up into all 12 tribes. Okay, so for example, this is like somebody at your school. Excuse me. Somebody at your school. All right, you got like 2,000 people at your school. Somebody at your school stole something. So everybody gets gathered up somewhere in the gymnasium, and they say, okay, I want the person who stole it to confess up. Think they're going to do it? So Joshua says, all right, somebody stole something, and we lost because of it. I want you to fess up. So Achan's like, you do it? Can't believe this guy who did it. All right, so nobody? All right, so God says, okay, we're going to do it. I guess we have to do it the hard way. So one by one, God sweeps across the tribes and says, well, not that tribe, not that tribe, not that tribe, until they get to Achan's tribe. Then Achan's tribe front and center. So Achan's probably like some beads of sweat. But he's still like, was it you? Who is this guy? Standing there, you know? So they ask Achan's tribe, who did it? Achan's like, I don't know. Fool. Standing there. So they get to Achan's clan within his tribe. They narrow it down more. All you, it's not you, go home. See, God is giving Achan every opportunity to get out before he's got to call him out. So then they move to Achan. They move to him, his wife, and his kids, his family. So Joshua's like, narrowed it down. So everybody in your school now, all 2,000 people, it's gone from 2,000 people to the grade, to a class, now to you and a couple people. All right? So here's the moment. Achan's like, look at his wife. Was it you? Look at his kids. What's wrong with you kids? Like, I raised you better than that. What's wrong with you, son? Like, I know you're 3, but I've seen you steal cookies. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. But and here's the moment. In this moment, Achan says this. Achan says, oh, you know what? You caught me. It was me. I'm sorry. So what he does is he says, all right, Joshua, look, I'll show you where I have it. So they go back to his house. He moves his bed. You know, he gets whatever the dirt, whatever side, and he says, well, there it is. I'm sorry. Just a little bit. You know, it's cool. Like, you have it now. You take it and give it to God. Are we okay? Joshua says, well, I am, but not you. Neither is your family. They take them all outside the camp, him and his family, and stone them to death. So this was stoning, which, look, if you've ever been hit by a rock on your head, that chunk hurts. All right? Even the right rolled spit wad going at the right velocity can hurt. That's just paper. All right? I know from experience. All right? Look, so, but they pick up stones, as many people as can get around his family, and without remorse, without sorrow, without a blink on their face, they stone him, his wife, and his children to death. Everybody in his family stoned to death. They did not stop until they were dead. God said, that is your punishment, Achan. You and your family, dead. Now, I don't share that story to share with you that God is some sort of evil monster. He's not. The point is this. What you do affects people around you. Point blank. The end. There is mass punishment and mass reward. We'll talk about the reward in a second, but you have to understand, sometimes we live in a society where people say, you know what I'm doing, it only hurts me. Butt out of it. No. It does not just hurt you. It hurts everyone around you. If you are doing something that is destroying your life, it is ruining the lives of people who care about you. Somebody who is married, who's doing things internally to themselves, who is that hurting? Their spouse, who they're married to. Somebody, a man or a woman, who decides to do something to themselves and they have a wife or a husband and kids, and it hurts them, who are they hurting? Their family. It's mass punishment. We all get hurt by other people's actions. My actions now, and actually always, I mean, now it's even worse because I am married and I have a son. Now I can cause more pain. I have to be extra careful. But even before, when I was by myself, I had family who loved and cared about me. Sometimes people try and justify doing things themselves by saying, there's nobody in my life that cares about you. You know what? I don't believe that anybody actually believes that. I believe it's a lie we tell ourselves to justify what we're doing. You know people love and care about you. And if you don't have any people you're related to that love and care about you, you know people love and care about you in this room. You know that. Some of you might be here because they love and care about you, and maybe sponsored your way, or maybe did a couple things to get you here. You cannot turn around and say to them, you don't love me and care about me. You just can't do it because it's not true, and you know it. Now, I'm not saying anybody in this room is saying that, but sometimes I think that's just a way out. To say, you know what, nobody really cares about me, nobody loves me, so I can do this. I'm not hurting anybody. It's not true. Every single person in this room, if you were to do something hurtful to yourself, it would hurt somebody else. Now, I don't say that to make you afraid or make you scared or whatever. I mean, you should actually, that should encourage you, because you are reminded again that you have people that love and care about you. But you have to understand this principle, mass punishment. Achan's behavior destroyed his family. Now on the flip side, mass reward. How you live your life can be a blessing to people around you. Because if it works one way, it has to work the other, doesn't it? If you live your life right, if you do good, the Bible says to never stop doing good. Never cease in doing good things, because in due time you'll receive your reward. Never stop. If you live your life right, uprightly, and do good, you will bless those around you. Now, does it always look like a blessing? Have you ever done the right thing and the results that you got back were not what you thought you should have? You did the right thing. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Ever feel that way? Some people say, well, you know what? I'm done doing the right thing because all I do is the right thing and I can't get ahead in life. All I do is the right thing and I still have a problem at home. All I do is the right thing and I still X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like the nice guys finish last. So I'm not being a nice guy anymore. But the Bible encourages us to keep on doing good. And I want to encourage you too, because it is a blessing not only to you, but people around you. People around you. And here's what we have to understand, okay? Teamwork. Teamwork. Team. It's not you work. It's not I work. It's teamwork. It's not about you. And it's not about me. It's about everybody else. You know the truth. Hopefully you've decided to commit to Christ. Now it's about everybody else. So now when you live, it's not all about you. It's about everybody else. When you go home, when you go to your school, when you're a blessing, it's about everybody else. It's so that you can help them take one step closer to Christ. We're going to move to number 3, but I want to challenge you with this before we do. You're either doing one of two things. You're either helping people take steps closer to God or away from Him. What are you doing? You cannot say, I love you, God, and then you're helping people take steps away from Him. He's going to say, no, you don't, because that person is my child, and you're not helping them come back to me. It's one of two things. Every single action that we do, every single behavior that we do, every single word that we say, everything either helps people get closer to God or away from Him. Everything that we do. All right, now we're not going to go and say, well, what about, the shirt I wore? Is that helping people get close? I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right? When I say everything, all right? We're not going like, oh, are my shoes helping people? All right, it's not that detailed, all right? I want you to understand. All of you pretty much know what I'm saying. Your behaviors, your speech, your conversation, your relationships, they're either helping people to get closer or driving them further away. Why? Because they're always watching and you have influence. You are a person of influence. Number 3. The principle of collective strength. I'm going to say cooperative strength. The principle of collective strength. An army of one. That's the slogan. An army of one. They accomplish a couple things when they say this. 2 points are accomplished when they use this slogan. 1, unity. 2, the power of what can be accomplished by the group. By the group. If you will work as a group to accomplish what God has called you to, what could you do? As a group. Almost anything. And look, we say it all the time, and we say it like so spiritual, like, 12 men turned the world upside down, the disciples. It's like that stuff shoot Christians say, 12 men changed the world. What can you do? It sounds a little cheesy, but the reality is this. It was 12. Now, those of you who are great at math, remember the problems where you have the number and then the alligator sign? And then the other number? Okay? So, in this room, are we greater than 12? Yes. Chomp chomp. Of course. So what do you think you can do? In your community? In your school? How many of you go to the same school as somebody in this room? I had students in my last youth group who did not even know that another person in the youth group went to the same school. And they're like, oh, there's another Christian here.
Wow.
Most of your schools are big. All right, there are other people there who are Christians. Maybe they're hanging low, waiting for you. I don't know. But the reality is that there is more power and potential in the collective group than there is by yourself. Look, action heroes understand this. Superman and the Avengers. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Look at, do I have a slide, Superman and the Avengers? Look, it says versus. Come on, son. Superman versus the Avengers. Scott. That's okay, you're all right. I wasn't giving you any direction. Superman versus the Avengers, who will win?
DC or Marvel.
The Avengers, why?
That could work. That could work.
That's right, because there's more. More weapons,
But it's
variety,
It's Superman.
stronger.
It's Superman. It's Superman.
Just, I mean, look, let me ask you this question. All of you versus Pastor Jim. Who will win? Pastor Jim's leaving. He's going to the gym to work out. Come on now, son. Like, trying to intimidate you, all right? Don't be intimidated, all right? No, look, even comics get this. We love the Avengers because it's a whole group. It's far more exciting than one dude. You know, one guy. Something about groups.
Justice.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that you encounter. All right. All of us are trying to be this. All of us are trying to be Superman. All of us are trying to do it and go at it alone. I'm going to do it alone. I don't need nobody else. And we live in this society where it's always telling you, you're the man. You're the stuff. Like, you got the swag. Like, just go out and do it. Does that ever work out? No. Does it? But we are still trying to do it ourselves. Trying to go at it ourselves. Trying to take the world on ourselves. I'm a self-made person. I'm me. I do me. This whole thing where it's like, I don't got time for somebody else. Me relying on somebody's weak, and I'm not weak. Whatever it is that people say, it is stupid. It's crazy. Because it doesn't work. And that's not even what we like. The Lone Ranger, that whole thing doesn't work out. Because we have a tendency to bite off more than we can chew. It happens, doesn't it? Like, you ever get excited for God and pumped up, and you're like, I'm gonna take this on, I'm gonna read the whole Bible in one sitting. I'm gonna, like, you're just crazy about reading. You get to like Genesis 2, and you're like, I'm done. Done. I'm done. And you like quit. You like put your Bible down. You're like, I'm done. Quit. Quit going to church. Quit being a Christian. Like, sometimes your excitement gets ahead of you. Like, I'm gonna go out and do it. I'm gonna tear it up. And then you fail, and you're like, oh. Like, woe is me, and you have nobody around you, and you built yourself up, and then so quickly your balloon gets popped. And now you're really in trouble because you can't think straight, you can't see straight, you're all alone, and you're hurt. You're waiting to get eaten. All right? Superman is not the way to go. The Avengers is the way to go. We understand that. All right? There's just something inside of us understands it, but there is a little pushback when God is maybe pushing us that way. All right? So, look, I want you to understand that team is powerful. Together is powerful. All right? And let's watch this video real quick about together.